Hey, my friends, how do you set boundaries in a great marriage? And why do you set boundaries? And what are boundaries? And do we even need boundaries in a marriage because it's the most intimate relationship in the world? Well, the answer is yes, we definitely need boundaries. But many marriages fail to set up boundaries or at least set up healthy boundaries. And many of us, we grew up in homes where boundaries were off. Either there were no boundaries, or they were unhealthy, or sometimes neurotic, and so we don't know how to set boundaries, or we might not have thought through carefully enough of like, what are the boundaries I really want, and then how do I carefully put them in place without causing more problems. And so boundaries, I would say, and you guys, this is a complicated and sensitive and crazy important topic. We all need to spend more time with this topic, and there needs to be more training. Rachel and I are going to do more training on this because it's so important. Every marriage, every relationship for that matter, needs really healthy boundaries. So a boundary is simply something that we, because of self-respect, I would say this, because of self-respect, a boundary is something we put up that protects us from being mistreated or abused or neglected in any way, shape, or form, right? We're protecting ourselves. Now, man, even in a marriage, there needs to be boundaries. Definitely different boundaries from with a stranger or with the in-laws or with your own extended family or whatever, right? Coworkers, there's going to be different boundaries because marriage is so intimate and so close, and there are sacred places and openness in a marriage that is in no other relationship in life. But there still needs to be boundaries. Now, like you're gonna in this video training, I'm gonna give out lots of warnings because I've seen as I work with couples for decades all over the world, I've seen that there are many relationships that have no boundaries, and there are many relationships that have weird boundaries and totally misunderstood boundaries, or the word rested, WERST. To rest means to twist or distort. And so I'll see couples that have really distorted boundaries and they think they're protecting themselves, but really they're just enclosing themselves and keeping their spouse at a distance. So this has to be done well. And so when we're setting up boundaries, just kind of think through like what are the boundaries that I want to have in my life? What are the boundaries that I need to have in a healthy relationship? So you ought to have boundaries for your spouse, and your spouse ought to have boundaries for you. What that does is it helps us be our best, and it helps us not cross a line that would be inappropriate. Now, in an ideal situation, I'm going to have crazy high standards and values, right? And I'm going to be conscious of that. I'm going to be working on myself. I'm going to be trying to be my best all the time. And so because I'm pursuing that, I'll rarely, if ever, cross one of Rachel's boundaries. And the same for her. She's growing, she's learning, she's trying to be her very best. And so she's rarely, if ever, going to cross one of my boundaries. But we still have boundaries nonetheless to make sure, and that's the point of a boundary, to make sure that protective, sacred space is never violated. So what are some healthy boundaries? Well, I would say, and again, there's going to be so many, and we should have more dialogue about this. So if you have more questions, ask the questions. Let's have some more dialogue and interaction around this topic so we can get clear, because it can be so vast and so broad. And so I'm just going to give some general guidelines. But basically, your boundaries should be set up to ensure that there's no meanness. Like there should just be no cruelty, no meanness at all. That they're not taking advantage of you or walking over top of you or being abusive in any way, shape, or form. And boundaries also include avoiding neglect where you're being neglected. So nothing cruel, nothing mean, the things that are said and how they're said, the things that are done and how they're done, nothing bizarre, weird, perverted. There'll be boundaries in your sexual relationship, right? That need to be protected there. And nothing nothing that you feel uncomfortable with, or that, again, borderline weird, mean, cruel, perverted, bizarre, right? But it's the same in how we interact with each other, the way we communicate, the things that are said and done. We got to have those boundaries. Say, sorry, that is basically what you're setting up is like, I respect myself. I expect you to respect me. I'm going to respect you. And here are these boundaries. Like that is unacceptable behavior. Essentially, you're saying, I'm sorry, I don't allow people to treat me that way. Those are the boundaries, right? And they need to be healthy. They need to be established in a kind, thoughtful way where everyone understands and agrees. And then they need to be firm and appropriately enforced if there's ever a boundary being pushed. So you're never going to allow someone just to be cruel or mean to you. Just done. You're not going to allow people to belittle you and make you feel stupid or just tear you down or mock you. Just absolutely unacceptable. And we established that in our family, and that's for our whole family. We just don't do that. We don't do it to others. That gossiping, mean talk behind their backs or to each other, mocking, tearing each other down, it's strictly forbidden in our home, and especially in our marriage, right? And we just don't, nor do we allow neglect, right? You're never going to allow your spouse to just totally neglect you or your marriage or your family. Unacceptable, right? But we have to be clear about what that means, and we have to have this dialogue and work through it. So you gotta have some clarity here, because if you set up boundaries in the wrong spots or in the wrong way, it actually can add more problem, and then you don't feel protected. Your spouse can feel rejected or even attacked, and it can cause way more problems. I mean, there's so much to this. Now, here's what I often see as well. That people they think they're setting up boundaries, but actually they're building up walls. Or they think they're setting up boundaries, but they're actually protecting their insecurities, which is very different. And again, it just causes more problems. So here's some of the examples I've heard, right? I heard one spouse say, oh, my spouse can never, ever say anything about my weight, right, and my health. And it came across as I'm setting up a boundary that you're never allowed to talk about my poor health. And of course, this person was in very poor health. And I thought, oh, that's not a boundary. That's an insecurity. And I want my spouse to help me be my best. And I want her to help me be in the best health of my life. And if I get out of shape, and this applies to everything, mentally, physically, spiritually, socially, emotionally, financially, if I get out of shape, I want my spouse to help me be my best. And who better than your spouse to help you, to call you out and say, hey, you're dropping the ball a little bit. Let's go. Come on, let's step this up. You're better than that. But the boundary there would be you do it. And again, this is a great boundary I suggest for everybody. That you do have open communication about improvement, about giving correction and feedback. That's awesome. That ought to be part of every extraordinary marriage. The boundary here is that it's done with kindness and tact and encouragement. There's no belittling, there's no criticizing, there's no condemning, there's no shaming or guilting. Right? We're not having out guilt trips here. We're doing it in a loving, kind way because we want to be our best, and we do it in a way like the boundary is like, I'm constantly trying to get better. You can help me, and I want to help you. Right? That's a good boundary. But saying, oh no, my spouse can never correct me, never tell me where I need to be better. That's not a boundary. That's hiding behind an insecurity or protecting it. Right? You see the difference there? It's subtle, but I want you to think through this very carefully. Another boundary is a total misunderstanding of the important elements of marriage. I heard one spouse say about, it was specifically about sex, of oh no, he just needs to control himself. No, there's no way we're having sex as often as he wants. Maybe once a week, and then he just needs to control himself. Again, the thought was, oh, I'm setting up boundaries about me and our intimate relationship, and he just needs to deal with it. And I cringed because of the misunderstanding around how important intimacy and sex is in a marriage, and how it's a beautiful and wonderful emotional experience. It is exceptionally emotional for men. Men really deeply connect with their wives emotionally through sex, right? And it's like Rachel and I love to teach, that's like many women have this deep need and desire to have intimate conversation, to talk to their spouses. Like they just have this need to connect through talking and communication. And like, think about it. How would you feel if your spouse didn't talk to you, if your husband didn't talk to you because he's like, nah, I'm too tired, I'm too busy. Like you just need to control yourself. Like you just need to deal with your desire to talk to me. Like whatever, I got things, right? How would that make you feel? It would be crushing, right? And it's the same. We have this emotional need. The more your husband loves you and adores you and wants to be with you and have an amazing marriage with you, the more he wants to have sex with you, right? And so that wasn't a boundary. It wasn't a healthy boundary. It was a total misunderstanding of something beautiful and wonderful. And it was actually, there's a lot of manipulation there. And there's manipulation around withholding sex. Or again, withholding talking conversation. The men can do it the other way. Like, well, I'm not gonna talk to her until she does what I think she ought to do, right? That's craziness. Those aren't boundaries, you guys. That's manipulation. That is so unhealthy and so painful. And so you got to think through, like, what am I doing and why am I doing it? Is this an insecurity, or is it an actual boundary? Am I setting up this boundary because I'm totally misunderstanding my spouse or misunderstanding myself? Or have I really thought through it, studied it out, talked to like people who really understand it? There's another warning there. Sometimes we go out and we're talking to everybody, and we talk to our friends and our parents, or whatever, and they all have the same. No, that's not healthy. That's not healthy. Because if I go around asking financial advice, for example, or even this, I go asking marriage advice from all the people in my neighborhood who have mediocre marriages, what kind of advice am I going to get? Right? Ugh, crazy. Which brings up another boundary. There ought to be boundaries about what's being communicated outside the marriage, right? Should we be sharing our personal things with parents or in-laws or siblings or outside people? Probably not. Unless that's somebody, that specific person with a skill set that can really help you. There's a good boundary. We're not just, sharing that stuff all over. There's a great boundary. But then, there's, again, see how complicated this is, this whole subject. We could go on and on and on for all these different boundaries and where it's healthy, where it's unhealthy. But I want you to think through it and talk about it and come to an understanding and agreement. And if there's a spot right now in your life where you feel like there hasn't been boundaries, or the boundary's not established and it feels kind of painful and raw, I want you to think about it a lot, write about it, spend some time you personally thinking and writing about the whole situation, the whole scenario. Understand yourself and why. Is this truly a boundary, or is it an insecurity? Is it what's called neurotic? Neurosis is when we just don't see something. It's just off. It just doesn't match up. It's off there, and so we're not thinking clearly about it. So write about it, think about it, study it out, and then say, yeah, this is something that really means something to me, and I feel clear about this. And then sit down with your spouse and just have an honest, humble, kind, conversation about, I think there ought to be some boundaries here, because and start off the conversation, you guys, by saying, hey, how can we level up? How can we make our marriage even better? How can we interact in a way that neither of us feels hurt or attacked or neglected or abused or manipulated? And have this just loving conversation there, where all we're doing is you're setting up standards, right? Standards and values that help your marriage improve. So I know there's going to be lots of questions about this, lots of specifics. Let's start a dialogue, ask questions, send us emails and messages. Let's talk through this. But every one of us needs to have very healthy boundaries inside our marriage, but make sure they're built on the right reasons, in the right ways, in the right places. It's done with diplomacy, and but then held firm, and we're protected where we're operating in mutual respect for each other. So set up those boundaries. Ask your questions if you have any. Let's make this happen and have extraordinary marriages. Reach upward.